Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to Remember11, the Age of Infinity. Let's get back to this. Just switch back to Kokoro. Satoru just switched back into Kokoro's body, I should say. Don't know why I said it in such a strange accent. As I lay brooding over it, a transfer occurred. Kokoro's body, was on a bed. Sheesh. This Kokoro, she's always sleeping. I transfer back there. She's on the bed. I transfer over here. She's on the bed. What's up with that? It'd be funny if that's what he was starting to say. It was, so to speak. Sitting like a girl. Stretched out my legs and jumped off the bed. Present time, 12:01 a.m. The date had already changed. See Uni and Lynn up on the bunk beds. It sounded like they were asleep. I could hear them breathing. But I couldn't see Yomogi anywhere. I took a look down into the storeroom, but there was nobody there. I tried opening the door. Yomogi was standing outside. Standing with his back to me, he was gazing up at the moon. Even though he should have heard the sound of the door opening, he didn't turn around. I hesitated. Should I tell him the truth or not? That sea is likely still there even now. Surrounding this little hill where the shelter cabin stands. If you climb up it and then descend the slope, you can reach the coast. Should I tell him? No, now is not the right time. I thought I was going to have to make a decision. That's what I thought. Even if the four of us escape from here, it won't solve everything. Right now, Kokoro's consciousness is in my body. And at the same time, my consciousness is in Kokoro's. But what happened if I left my Kakakura in this state? It's quite plausible that we'd get stuck like this, unable to ever return to normal. And even if we could, that wouldn't necessarily mean the end of the transference phenomenon. I'm not really sure, but I have a hunch that it's going to continue forever. I'm repeating myself now. We can escape at any time. If I rush things, I run the risk of causing irreparable damage, and that would cause big trouble. So I just kept quiet. I decided not to tell Yomogi about it. Right now, my top priority is to clarify the cause of the transference phenomenon. Now is not the time to be taking risks. As I stood there thinking, Yomogi suddenly spoke up. Bathed in moonlight, he looked somewhat small and lonely. Smoke climbed into the air from the cigarette between his lips. The long sighs that issued from those lips came out in a burst of pale vapor. I stood beside him and asked, gazing up at the waning gibbous moon with him. He likes to throw out the word gibbous, don't he? I guess it tells me what day it is. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't find the words. On any other occasion, I'd have been surprised to hear the name Inabushi Keiko. But for some reason, my mind had gone completely silent. All the agitation and confusion deserted me. As though they'd all died away, a calm stillness reigned, I should say. But deep in my chest, a bitingly cold pain ate at me. It seems like I do remember that, yeah, didn't he? It seems like I, do recall them having a second kid. Do you remember Junoichi dying, though?
この腕に抱きしめて。でもね、新しい命は純一が与えてくれたものなんじゃないかって。だから僕らは全てを受け入れることにしたんだ。予定日は今年の8月。僕は純一に礼を言うために。だがこの分だと命日には間に合いそうもないな。
Okay. I might be foggy on some of the details, as I stated last time. But Sumi don't have a kid in the thing, does she? Oh. If I'm remembering right, it's been a while since I've seen it, Sumi. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen her. I used to see her every day, then I don't think I ever commented on it, but she did look kind of like, she did look kind of pregnant. That's something you want to say to somebody unless you know they're pregnant. Hey, lady, what's the baby do? Oh. Okay, sorry. You know, you don't want to say something like that, but, she did, if memory strikes me right, it seemed like she looked a little pregnant. So that would put... Satoru never had mentioned it either, nor Kokoro. I don't know, maybe they didn't think it either. Maybe they didn't want to mention it, like, hey, you having a baby, or you just overweight? Yeah, next time Sumi's there, we're gonna take a look and see if my memory serves me right. I might not be remembering right. I'm sorry, Itsumi. I'm so sorry if you're not. If I remember you wrong, I'm sorry. So if it's still year 2011, then she should still be pregnant. Or if the year is 2012, she should have a baby that's less than a year old. And that baby is not at the Spia. I don't think she's mentioned it. My memory's foggy though. Okay, let's move on. Here's a crazy thought. And I'm sure it's not right. What if Uni is a clone of Junoichi? It almost makes sense. Except, you know, not at all. Well, I was saying with the name. I think that Uni Junoichi, it had an O there. It's kind of like Juni with an O there. Junoichi. What, is that right? I think it's Junoichi. Now I'm not sure if I'm remembering it right. I'm sure that's not the case. That would be kind of explain it a little bit. Jimmy's probably just got a motherly attitude, but it would kind of add an even crazier tone to how she treats Uni. I do. How long was Uni at Sphere when Satoru, or when this whole thing started happening? Okay, I'm gonna move on. With a faraway look in his eyes, he gazed up at the orb in the sky. Sorry, I should quit speculating as much. And just move on with the story. January 14th, the 4th day. Okay. We are not as far into it as I thought. 3:30 a.m. Nucleotide is the name of this chapter. Because Satoru. I'm sitting in a corner of the living area. I'm doing this in order to ambush a certain someone the moment she leaves the room. If my intuition is correct, then this chloroform is totally going to put her to sleep. Couldn't actually spill it. I don't know why. I looked at my hand. Think if that's what Satoru's working on right now, he's probably using practice from college. She'll definitely come. Last night, after listening to Yomogi's story, I burrowed into my bed at the shelter cabin and fallen deep into his thought. Completely unaware of what was happening around me, I had suddenly found myself back at Sophia. Came to my own bed, my eyes closed. From the position of my body, I could tell that Kokuro's consciousness had already gone to sleep, but I didn't feel the least bit tired. A flurry of sparks were going off inside my mind. Instead of counting sheep, I was absent-mindedly thinking over everything that had happened over the last few days. When I say thinking, I don't mean my usually meandering. I believed that all of our problems were interconnected, like a mesh of a net, and had built up upon each other into a complex, multi-layered structure. If I think about one problem, I have to consider another related problem as well. I start thinking about that, yet another one comes to mind. Like this, my thought process continues on and on without end. I couldn't grasp the thread and really didn't somehow. I felt like all the pieces would fall into place right away. But at present, nothing made me feel like I was getting any closer to finding it. I could only continue to grope my way through the fog of endless questions spreading out around me. I strive to see it as a whole, I lose sight. I accidentally hit enter. I try to narrow my field of vision and study a particular point. Lose my perspective of the essentials of the whole thing. That's weird. This is the dilemma. But I couldn't continue to flounder this way. I have to keep going forward. Without worrying about failure, ever forward. And in order to do that, I have to make up my mind and start cutting this chain apart at the links. If I can't disentangle this snarl of yarn, then I have no choice but to snip it apart into manageable bundles. For convenience's sake, I named the big proposition that incorporated every aspect of the problem R. Following that, I sorted the contents of R into three main parts. R1, the personality transfer. R2, and perhaps D2, my goals are at both Aosagi Island and Mount Akakura. R3, Utsumi and Hattori. Below, I'll list everything I've figured out up until now. Thank you, Satoru. It's like you know that I haven't played this game in a while. Thanks for all the recaps. Satoru's like that episode of the TV shows. Every season that would happen, you know, kind of the recap episodes, you know, where somebody get hurt and be in the hospital, and then they're like, "Ha, remember that time that you did this?" And then a flashback to the previous season, and First off, this phenomenon began on January 11th around 8 to 9 p.m. Ever since then, each transfer from Aosagi Island to Mount Akakura occurred irregularly, following no apparent schedule, except for 33 minutes. I do remember that. They lasted 33 minutes, I should say. On the other hand, I did discover a regularity in the transfers in the... Oh, is that what he's going to say? The time of my transfers on January 12th. 1:07 p.m. Transferred to shelter cabin. 1:40 returned to Sophia. 6:03 transferred to shelter cabin, returned to Sophia. Blah blah. You can see the times there. The times of my transfers on January 13th. 1:52 transferred to shelter cabin. 2:25, return to Sophia. That's, yeah, 33. 10:15, 10:48, yeah, that's another 33. As the above list indicates, the period of time consciousness can spend at Mount Akakura is limited to 33 minutes. It seems clear that these 33-minute periods of time allow for no fluctuation and are more or less the absolute rule. Absolute. Of course, I say this from my own standpoint. For Kokuro's consciousness, it's the exact opposite. The period of time Kokuro's consciousness can stay on Aosagi Island is set at 33 minutes. There's no rule governing her time on Mount Akakura. In this manner, we transfer back and forth between our bodies. When I'm in her body, she's in mine. When I'm in my original body, she's in hers. Something like that, anyway. The next step is to come up with a strategy for bringing this phenomenon to a conclusion. I wish to end these annoying and puzzling personality transfers as quickly as possible, and Kokoro probably feels the same. It's only natural. Kokoro and I just want to lead a normal life. We want to fall in love, work, play, build a family, and eventually become grandparents, just as much as anyone else. We long for that kind of normal human life. I have no intention of being endlessly jerked around by some personality transfer, because that could be awkward if they were to try to do all those things while having the transfer happening. And that would be really weird. You know, aside from the fact of it happening through the possibly happening through the process, what if Kokoro was having a baby and then it's Satoru? That would be a very unique situation, I'm sure, for Satoru to happen upon. What's more, these transfers aren't occurring in parallel at the same point on the time axis, but across a 1-year time gap. In other words, a time jump and a personality transfer occur together. A really, honestly, seriously, maddeningly, accursedly annoying situation. Man, loving those adverbs. If I can speak plainly, what I'd really love to do is to wash my hands of it completely and run away to some tropical island. Even if I escape to Sidonia on the planet Mars, there's no guarantee that the transfers would stop. That'd be amusing. That'd be a funny thing for Kokoro to transfer. What the crap? Mars? How did you get to Mars? That's why I have to find a way to solve it all here and now. Because it could very well be the one fated to die in the avalanche on January 17th. 2011 might not be Kokoro, but me. And even if, for argument's sake, it were Kokoro's consciousness, I'm not sure what would happen to my body after that. Perhaps transfers continue after one of us dies. Now, if that's the case, the next time I transfer, that would mean I'd be buried forever under the snow. Just the thought of it makes my hair stand on end. I've got to do everything I can to keep it from happening. It's kind of a morbid thought. Just pop into a dead body. Oh no, Kokoro's a zombie. Our time limit is drawing ever near. By January 17th, 3 days from now, I'll have to figure out this phenomenon and put an end to these transfers, no matter what it takes. No matter what. That's my mission. But to find a solution, I'd first have to ascertain its cause. And to tell the truth, I haven't the slightest idea how I'm going to do that. However, I do have plenty of information, and some part of it might even hold the very clue that I need. The moon! Oh my gosh. List within a list within a list. I did see the same phase of the moon on both Mount Akakura and Aosagi Island. The phase that I observed last night, January 13th, in both places, corresponds to this night in 2012. The ocean. Once I climbed out of that bowl-like hollow, why did I see the ocean? It wasn't as though I saw it in the distance either. It was right there. Right under our noses. Moreover, if I open the gate at Sophia on Aosagi Island, there's an ocean waiting for me too. Okay. Okay, well, he just cleared up exactly what I was wondering in the last episode. It was right there. Is it maybe at certain points or something? It's weird. Existence of Uni. Up until now, I was convinced of this. But the Uni who existed in body at Mount Akira was the same one who, at the end of a long struggle, had finally reached the shelter cabin after surviving the crash. And the Uni at Mount Aosagi Island was the one who had been found by the rescue team on January 17, 2011, and come to Spia 1 year later. After that, they experienced the same transference phenomenon as Kokoro and I, but only swapped bodies once. That's the reason behind the various discrepancies in their memories and the other problems. Or so I imagined. That doesn't seem to be the case. To begin with, for the two unis to have transferred only once, while Kokoro and I have transferred back and forth many times, is unnatural no matter how you think about it. There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. There's nothing more than a hypothesis. I'll have to reinvestigate this once I've gathered more proof. Oh my gosh. He's on R2! All of that was just R1! Ah! We're gonna see what R2 is in the next episode. Yeah, we'll stuff he has to do, huh? Okay. The next R3 will be about Tori and Itsumi, if I remember right. Anyway, we'll figure out about those in the next episode. I do sincerely hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell there.